Good morning. My name is Betty Harris, and I'm a assistant minister here. And I welcome each of you to this morning's meditation, both those of you that are here in the sanctuary and those of you that are joining us from home. I'm going to read this morning a short selection from Thomas Berry, The Sacred Universe. Thomas Berry was I don't exactly know what he was. He was a minister in the Catholic Church and was a priest. But he's also been called the beginner of the focus on our responsibilities for the planet and for the church here. So let me just read a little of this and then we will go into meditation. Usually, he writes, I speak about a wonder-filled intimacy with planet Earth, with the sun, the moon, the stars, and eventually with the entire universe. Here, I am focusing on our presence on the North American continent. For the most part, we who reside on this continent have come from other parts of the planet, from Europe, Africa, and Asia. As humans, we function differently and in their association from other living species, which are determined in their life patterns and eventually with the universe entire. Here I am focusing on our presence on the North American continent. For the most part, our presence on the North American continent comes from other parts of the planet. We are determined in our life patterns and in our association among themselves and with other species, and have much less of the psychic development we identify as human consciousness. The general coding of the non-human species establishes their inner patterns of consciousness, their capacities for acquiring food, their patterns of mating, their social structures, and their communication methods. Some species do have extensive acculturation processes that constitute learned behavior. Bears need teaching as regards their capacity for fishing, and insects such as bees carry out remarkable processes to produce honey. What we have learned during these past few decades concerning the special insights, the functional skills, and the modes of consciousness of various animal species is exceptional. I speak especially of the work of Jane Goodall among the primitive primates, particularly the chimpanzees. From her work and from that of others, we are finding that the power of reciprocal communication in the animal world is far greater than we had previously thought. Scientific studies of the universe have given us amazing information on the structure and emergence of the universe. Although we increasingly know more about the universe and its evolutionary processes, we have less intimacy with it. We do not celebrate the universe. It has lost for us its mystical dimensions. We live in a less meaningful world than those who preceded us, and certainly less meaningful than other civilizations that have had far less information. Indeed, one of the most astonishing statements about the universe is Steven Weinberg's reflection at the conclusion of his book, The First 3 Minutes, A Modern View of the Origin of the Universe. There he tells us that we know more about the universe, the more pointless it seems to be. How different is this from the poet William Blake, who asked, "What do you see when you look out over the landscape? Do you simply see the sun rising? Or do you see the flaming forth of the deep mystery of the universe?" I remember attending a global forum in Oxford in 1988, where some 200 scientists, religious thinkers, and political representatives gathered to discuss the future of the planet and its relation to the human community. Behind the speaker's podium was an enlarged reproduction of the photograph of the planet Earth as seen from space, a blue and white globe majestically sailing through the dark. Yet one of the most prominent members of the symposium remarked to me with a certain concern that this was not the planet Earth in any meaningful way. That is all he said. I was somewhat puzzled at first by what he could possibly mean. Then it occurred to me that it was the very physical splendor of Earth, as represented, that he somehow found inadequate. It did not represent the soul of the planet. It did not show the grasses, flowers, or meadows of the planet. It showed no desert, rainforests, river lakes, or vegetation. There were no trees, no soaring birds or butterflies, and no animals moving about on the plains or through the woodlands. Instead, it was a colorful marble hung in the sky, a small sphere such as we used to play with in childhood games. This photo showed Earth in such an entrancing way that it distracted from the more particular aspects of the planet, and thus of the further implications of the nature and structure and functioning of the universe. I invite you to place your attention, your thoughts on this world we live in, or perhaps on this world we live on, and to remember that it was made out of bits and pieces of other things throughout that universe, that it became a planet, and that over time, with the supervision and assistance of God, or nature, or whatever we want to call that creative power, it developed rocks and trees and grasses and animals and us. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to live here.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Whether you are here in the sanctuary at 4 Points or you have invited us into your homes through the power of live streaming, we're very glad that you have chosen to join us today. Knowing that you're here and knowing that you're out there is a really wonderful awareness. So for those of you who may not know me, my name is Dusty Rippelmeyer, and I have the privilege and the honor of being this community's spiritual director. We are a spiritual community that honors all paths and promotes global transformation through personal transformation. We are a spiritual community that can support you as you strive to create a personal relationship with the divine, and a place where you are respected and accepted just for being who you are. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living, and Centers for Spiritual Living is a global community of over 450 spiritual centers, teaching chapters, and special focus ministries in over 30 countries across the globe. It is a practical and positive philosophy, faith, and way of life that really is dedicated to transforming lives by providing powerful spiritual practices and principles for our individual lives and for exploring new possibilities to assist the world to become a world that works for all. So we're very glad that you have chosen to join us today. I would like to thank Reverend Betty Harris for her beautiful meditation that really expanded the container that our service will unfold within. So thank you very much, Reverend Betty. And now I would love everyone to stand and sing our opening congregational song, You and Me, by Eddie Watkins, Jr. Eddie must have been in the bathroom. We're just waiting for him to come back. Okay. We ready? Oh, we're not ready. Well, perhaps. How about this weather? How about the turnbull? How about...
Oh, yeah. Come on. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. One life living is you and me. Yeah. One light shining is you and me. Yeah. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. All right. One life living is you and me. Yeah. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. One life living is you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. One life living as you and me. One light shining as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One
Welcome once again, everybody, to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. I'm going to do some quick announcements. Our Wednesday evening services throughout 2024 are called Beyond Sunday. Please join us at 7 on Zoom. The link is available on our Wednesday newsletter or on our website. During the month of August, our Wednesday evening services will take a deep dive into the wisdom of Robert Augustus Masters in his book, Spiritual Bypassing, when spirituality disconnects us from what really matters. It is a book fully devoted to explaining and working through spiritual bypassing, providing an in-depth look at the unresolved or ignored issues that are often masked or marginalized through spiritual bypassing. Reverend Dusty will be facilitating the conversations throughout the month. Although reading the book is not required, I encourage you to consider checking it out. Number 2, Gourmets for God. Gourmets for God is a unique community builder and fun fundraiser for our center. We have 11 events this year. The electronic silent auction began yesterday and will end on Sunday, August 25th. The link, which is today, right? Yeah.
we're extending.
Okay, well, Reverend Dusty just said that we are extending that, and I guess you will expound on that a little later on. Okay, the link went out by constant contact. If you did not receive it, please contact Heather. You are also able to access it through our website. Anyone can bid, and there is no limit to how many events you can bid for. You do not need to be a TCSL member to participate. Events happen from September 7th through September 10th. Okay, number 3, a reminder. This is a reminder of our annual Durham Bulls game outing. We still have some tickets left for the game on Friday evening, August 30th. To reserve tickets, please call, text, and email Heather Abbott. It is a very fun evening filled with fellowship, a great game, wonderful seats, and the most amazing fireworks you have ever seen. Okay, the last one. This is a save the date announcement for Carol Cross's 3rd journaling workshop in the 4-workshop series. This upcoming workshop is called Harvesting Wisdom, an optional spiritual journaling workshop. You guys can tell I practiced that word because last week I stumbled over that word and I could not get it right at all. I even looked it up. Optional means actually autumn is a season of, reaping the benefits of your rewards or the work that you've done through the year. I did not know that. So maybe I was supposed to stumble over this word because I know what it means now. Okay. The upcoming workshop is called Harvesting Wisdom, an optional spiritual journaling workshop. In this workshop, discover journaling techniques geared towards the rich tapestry of autumn, where endings and beginnings intertwine, and the wisdom of discovering when and what to release can show us a path toward transformation. Join us as we journey through the sacred landscape of fall, embracing the wisdom of letting go and appreciating the gifts of the harvest through the art of spiritual journaling. Reserve your spot today and prepare for a special optimal experience. The workshop will be held at 4 Points by Sheraton, Raleigh-Durham Airport, following service on Sunday, September 8th, from 12 to 3. The cost is $30. The workshop will be facilitated by Carol Cross, RSCP, MA, Master's of Education, and longtime journaling enthusiast. Thank you, everybody.
I think he's taller than I am. Okay. The theme for the year 2024 is A Grand Rising. Our theme for the month of August is Unstatus Quo. And Reverend Dusty's message is freedom from discord. I'm now going to read this community's purpose statement, which is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to be a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. So I would invite you to turn within, to open your heart and mind, and perhaps to close your eyes and let the sounds of the crystal bowl wash over you. And I ask you to welcome Lonnie, who will come up and help us with the thing here. Okay. Okay. The Center for Spiritual Living honors both the truth that we are all created by God out of the same God's stuff, and that there is a multiplicity of divine emanations, and each individualized and unique in their own way, as represented by this ceremony. Whether you are with us for the first time, or your 1000th time, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are in the room physically or participating via technology or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether your soul is full of joy and possibility, or your heart is heavy and your mind is consumed with troubles, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just the way you are. Whether you are new to the science of mind philosophy, or you have practiced it for a long time, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether your skin, eye, and hair color are a rich dark shade, or you are the palest tint of color, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you are a straight, cisgender man or woman, or you identify with the LGBTQ plus community, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether your politics tend toward the red side or toward the blue side, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you were born and raised in this country, or came here from a different land, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you are married or single, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you are in the first third of your life, the third third of your life, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you feel your connection with God is the driving force of your life, or you aren't sure that you even believe in God, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Each and every color is beautiful and unique and significant. They all combine together into an amazing whole. Thank you all for contributing to your special vibration, to today's service, and to life itself. And thank you, Lonnie, for doing that. And so it is. So I invite you to close your eyes and let us go for a moment into communion with God. I am so grateful to be here this morning, to be healthy and alive and in the presence of these people and of God. It is joy and it is a comfort to be able to do so. I know that there is one underlying power which supports us all, which gives purpose to this world, which helps us to move through our days with intention and with joy and with pleasure. And I know that that is God, and I am grateful for that purpose, for that presence all of the time. Because we are here together to worship God, to share with each other, to learn something else about what we might do to make our lives more significant, better, more contributing to this world. I simply speak a word of gratitude for the opportunity to do that. And so, knowing that we are here on purpose, knowing that we are here in the love of God, I speak these words for people who are here, who have come today to support the service and who have come today to contribute to the service. I speak a word specifically of Heather and of her partner, Matthew, who are here to keep the service going, to get it out into the community and to give us the opportunity to be part of a larger organization, a larger presence than is just here in this room. I also speak a word of pleasure, of our gratitude for the presence of our singer who will be here, who will bring us joy, who will bring us a different look at what is going on in the world through the modality of song. I am also grateful for Reverend Dusty, who is here, who will bring us a word, who will trigger our thoughts about a different way, or perhaps a larger way, that we can contribute to the life of the world and to the life of our own circle of people and friends, which we know will go out and be of blessing to others. And so with all of that, I am simply grateful for the presence of each person here. I know that we come together to learn something, do, and to also to contribute to the joy of being together in this place. And so with gratitude, I release this into the law. I know that it is done, and I invite you to join me as we say, and so it is. Okay. Now, our reading for today is from the Guides for Spiritual Living in the Science of Mind magazine. It was from March of 2019. It's by Reverend Masando Mike Harioke. And he says, calling attention to our wounds and to the injustices we are experiencing brings the whole back into integrity with our values as a nation for equality, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And in order to come back into integrity with these values, we must be brave enough to understand the way we've fallen out of it and continually call out and courageously speak to the way in which we are not living in integrity. You got a job. And I would like to introduce our
Thank you. Whew, yeah, that was a mouthful. Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God that I'm breathing. And then I pray, don't take me too soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. And sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. And when negativity surrounds, well, I know someday it'll all turn around. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that they don't wanna fight no more, and there'll be no more wars, and our children can play one day, one day, one day. It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when they feed on the souls of the innocent. Blood-drenched pavement, keep on moving though the waters stay raging. And in this maze you could lose your way, your way, your way. And it might drive you crazy, but don't let it faze you. No way, no way. And sometimes in your tears you'll drown, but don't ever let it get you down. And when negativity surrounds, well, you know someday it'll all turn around. 'Cause all your life you've been waiting for, you've been praying for the people to say that they don't wanna fight no more, and there'll be no more wars, and our children can play one day, one day, one day. One day this will all change. We'll treat people all the same. We're gonna stop with the violence. We're gonna end the hate. And one day we'll all be free and proud to be, well, under the same sun, singing songs of freedom. And sometimes in our tears we'll drown, but we'll never let it get us down. And when negativity surrounds, well, you know someday it'll all turn around. 'Cause all our lives we've been waiting for, we've been praying for the people to say that they don't want to fight no more, and there'll be no more wars, and our children can play one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Let's start today. Why not today? Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, maybe we should just leave it at that. One day. Thank you, Karen. Beautifully sung, perfect song for the message today. As always, I appreciate your presence here. Thank you so very much. Let's give her another round. So Betty said, have my work cut out for me today. And truth be told, I have felt some excitement over this entire month, this idea of unstatus quo. And yet, I've also felt uncomfortable. I felt like I've been out on these skinny little branches and having conversations about things that I didn't know how they would land on people. And yet I felt very, very called to have them. Like other ministers, I'm just trying to find my way, not only through this month, but also through this very chaotic time on the planet. Would people feel threatened by the conversations? Would they walk out? Would we lose some key members and some financial support? Would it cause some rift in the congregation? And yet I really felt in my heart that something more needs to be done to assist the world to be able to move beyond the status quo, to be able to move beyond this dangerous state of polarization and divisiveness and violence that we are kind of living in. Now, Science of Mind has not really traditionally been known as a movement that really speaks up and out about social issues. And yet, I have been asked time and time again about what our faith tradition or our principles of oneness and wholeness, or our belief in inclusivity, or our vision of a world that works for everyone says about what's happening in the world today. Is it time to face outwardly? Is it time to face the world of conditions and really speak our message out rather than just always turning inwardly? Are we being challenged to really articulate our teaching in a way that meets the needs of the time? Ernest Holmes really wanted us to remain open at the top. He really wanted us to be a teaching that was willing to change and to grow and to evolve in order to stay relevant, and in order to continue to be a teaching that was really welcoming of everyone. Now, if we were to really think about it, there is really no other theology on earth at this time that is in a better position to really be able to understand the complexities of the world that we are experiencing today, as well as being acutely aware of the principles and practices that we can use, that we can tap into to co-create the world that we would choose to be living in one day. There's no other theology on earth at this time in a better position to really be able to understand the answer for the crisis that we are experiencing is rooted in a deeper understanding of our oneness, a deeper understanding of our wholeness, a deeper understanding of our connection, a deeper understanding our divinity and our relationship to one another and everything on the planet, including the planet. Recently, I took part in a CSL book study. And the book study was about this book by Reverend Dr. David Alexander called Freedom from Discord. And its tagline is The Promise of a New Thought Liberation Theology. And basically, the book is really about a new alternative story for CSL or for New Thought in general, right? It's an opportunity to really powerfully step into the unstatus quo. Ivan Illich says, if you want to change a society, then you have to tell an alternative story. Looking at the intersection between, the theme of the month, unstatus quo, Reverend Dr. Alexander's book, and all of the conversations that we had during this book study, I am called today to talk about politics. Oh no, she didn't just say that, did she? I did. I'm going to talk about politics. But I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, and I'm not going to talk about political ideas or ideologies. I'm not going to talk about who's right and who's wrong. I'm not going to talk about blue states and red states. I'm not going to talk about any of that. Many people think that to be political these days is to be confrontational, to be divisive, to be polarizing, all those things that the majority of ministers and congregations don't want anything to do with. And yet Gandhi says, those who believe that there is no politics in religion do not understand either. Do not understand either. So what does it mean? What does it really mean to be political? According to Reverend Dr. Alexander, being political in simple terms means to engage in politics. Politics is defined, is defined as the ways and means by which groups of people make decisions that govern the collective. Let me say that again. It's the ways and means by which groups of people make decisions that govern the collective lives of people. And this day and age, it really seems like everything is political. And if we just go based on Reverend Alexander's meaning of political, then everything really is political because it has to do with how we live together collectively. In a month whose theme is unstatus quo, I believe that pretty much every aspect of our social lives warrants having a discussion at some level or another. And that every conversation will, in all probability, be political in nature, having to do with how we choose to live collectively. But that doesn't mean that it has to be divisive, or confrontational, or demeaning, or disrespectful, or blaming, or judging, or downright mean. Politics does not have to carry with it the toxic, heavy energy that often accompanies the term. It does not have to be something that's battered about and used like a wedge in between people, forcing them to take a position either for or against. It doesn't have to be that way. I believe that the conversations we need to have are more about bridging the divides rather than choosing a side. I believe that the conversations we need to have are about the places and spaces where our beliefs, our science of mind beliefs and principles and practices are being trampled on every day, day in and day out in the world of form. I've been speaking and teaching about oneness and wholeness and inclusivity and acceptance and respect and kindness and freedom and unconditional love as a minister for over 12 years. And yet, is it enough? Is it enough? I've been talking about the importance of doing our own inner work and expanding and elevating our own consciousness, knowing that by doing so, we really can literally touch everyone that we encounter, and that when we do that, we will ultimately shift the consciousness on the planet. While many people sitting here and others that have come through this community over the years actually have shifted their own lives, and that we have made some difference in the world today, that there are some things that have changed, has it been enough? Have we changed enough collectively? Have we actually created that world that works for all? There are still children being gunned down in schools and churches and in malls by people that should not have access to the guns, especially those kinds of guns. There are still young black men and women being killed in routine traffic stops, moments of mistaken identity, and wrongful racial profiling. There are still people who identify with the LGBTQ plus community who are being stigmatized and marginalized and bullied and even murdered just for living the life the way that they are living it, or for loving who they love. There are still women of color and indigenous women and their unborn babies who are dying because of lack of health care resources to assist them before, during, and after their pregnancies. There are still women of all races, colors, religious faiths, ages, and political parties who have lost the alienable right to choose what is right for their own body and are afraid of losing other rights. There is still the need for Edie Falco and others to be doing commercials for the SPCA to assist animals who have been unfed, beaten, chained, and left out in the freezing cold without any regard for the fact that they too are divine beings. While these and so many other situations have been made out to be divisive political pawns, the truth is that they are human rights and animal right issues. And I believe we have a responsibility to our global family to talk about them and to take action. For me, there has to be more to science of mind than just individual enlightenment. More to science of mind than just a revolving door where people come to learn how to co-create their lives consciously. For me, it's a movement that is both individual and collective. It is a movement that involves both personal transformation and global transformation. It is a movement that involves both looking in and reaching out. Reverend David Alexander says, theology, by definition, is not a single voice imposing itself on the world, but a collection of voices shaped by and responding to the world. Therefore, a living theology need not worry itself about how best to cling to the words of icons gone by, but rather must follow in the footsteps of deep inquiry and adaptive implementation into the world in which it currently finds itself. In other words, a theology is a living thing, breathing new life into the times. It exists in and ever learning from the times gone by. Science of Mind is a theology, and it's a theology that has a vision for the world. When we talk about our vision, which is a world that works for all, I think about the process in which the larger organization, Centers for Spiritual Living, really arrived at that vision. And they arrived at that vision through the spiritual practice called visioning. And when I think about visioning, I think about the questions that are typically asked during that process. Now, the first question is, what is God's highest idea for a world that works for all? For me, it includes diversity, inclusivity, acceptance, welcome, kindness, and unconditional love. It includes people who are willing to have the hard conversations and are willing to sit with one another and listen to each other's stories without judgment. The second question is, what needs to be released? The promise of our teaching is emancipation from discord of every nature, a goal that Ernest Holmes says is sure to be attained by all. So if that's true, then stepping into a bold new vision will require releasing that which is no longer working for us, individually or collectively. In his book, Reverend Alexander talks about some myths that the science of mind movement must let go of in order to be able to manifest our vision. Myth number one, we are not political here. The underlying truth here is that we are confused about the meaning of politics. Political activity is simply activity that governs our collective experience. We confuse what is political with taking sides. We confuse what is political with being judgmental. And we confuse being political by blaming others for the circumstances. So many of the topics that we call political are actually topics of basic human dignity: gay marriage, gun control, women's health care, transgender rights, racial equality, and so on. For us, Centers for Spiritual Living, this community, all the other 450 communities, New Thought in general, to proclaim oneness and wholeness as our theology, we must stand up and speak up for basic human rights. For us not to do so is actually out of alignment with our fundamental beliefs and principles. Myth number two, conditions such as racism, sexism, etc. are in the consciousness of the people expressing or experiencing them. That's on them. Reverend Alexander declares that those at the effect of racism or other conditions no more created or attracted it to themselves than we attract the weather to ourselves. The collective consciousness of humanity created these conditions. We ourselves, through our own beliefs and through our own actions, might actually amplify them, or we might project them, but it's the collective condition that they are promoting. So it would be a mistake for any of us to say, regardless of the conditions that we experience personally, that we're not affected by them. We are affected by them, each and every single one of us. Cole Arthur Riley says, because whatever has happened to humanity, whatever is currently happening to humanity, it is happening to all of us. No matter how hidden the cruelty, no matter how far off the screams of pain and terror, we live in one world. We would say there's only one of us here. Whatever we do to one, we're doing to ourselves, and literally, we are doing to God. Myth number 3, focusing on the conditions perpetuates, or worse, attracts more of them. Now, the bottom line is that it's one thing to have a practice in which we do not entertain negative self-talk, right? That's a great practice to have. It's another to have a practice in which we bury our heads, refusing to acknowledge the conditions around us. Ernest Holmes would say, everything is as real as it's supposed to be, don't tell somebody that there is no cancer, right? Think about it, right? If God is infinite, then there's nothing outside of God. If God is everywhere, then God is right there in that condition, whatever that condition is. And because of that, it behooves us to really bring up those conditions, bring up those situations into our awareness, into our consciousness, and to examine them, and then to heal them. Furthermore, if the evolution of the planet is always towards our highest and best, then it is entirely possible, right? Think about this. It's entirely possible that the collective of humanity has attracted its current negative conditions for the purpose of healing them. There's a thought. Refusing to see something doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means that we don't want to look at it. When we choose not to look at it, we surrender our power to change it. Myth number 4. Being colorblind is spiritual. Reverend Alexander says, colorblindness as a spiritual practice is one of the biggest lies ever pushed onto our communities. There is nothing spiritual about being indifferent to human experience. We are a teaching of inclusion, not exclusion. We include our humanness. We do not eliminate it or ignore it. God made diverse colors of humanity as beautiful expressions of the one. Why should we ignore them? The third question of the practice of visioning is what needs to be embraced. Now again, for me, oneness, wholeness, curiosity, vulnerability, authenticity, acceptance, inclusion, and the truth that there is no conflict between an inward, personal-focused teaching and an outward, social activism-focused one. God is not this or that. God is this and that. God is this and that. The fourth question is, who do I need to become? So again, for me, we need to become a magnificent expression of the truth that God is not static or polarized. a beautiful, magnificent expression of the truth that God is ever evolving, and infinitely expressing. We need to say yes to new expressions that move us beyond our traditions, that move us beyond the status quo, that move us beyond our old patterns and ways of being in the world, whether we're talking individually or collectively. We're encouraged to grow. We're encouraged to evolve. We're encouraged to transform and transmute as an individual, as a teaching, as a community, and as a world. We need to become a theology that walks the talk, right? A theology that seeks to make community gathering every bit as significant, every bit as important as meditation and introspection. That makes room for everyone at the table with absolutely no exceptions. And that seeks to elevate both contemplation and action as a spiritual practice. The last question is there anything else? Now, in the Bible, James 2, verses 14 through 17, it says, "What good is it if someone says that he has faith but does not have works? Can that faith save him? If a brother or a sister is poorly clothed and lacking daily food, and one of you says to them, 'Go in peace, be warmed and filled,' without giving them the things needed for the body, what good is that? Faith without works is dead." Ernest Holmes would simply say, "Treat and move your feet." It's not enough to have principles and beliefs and yet not be willing to act on them. We have to be willing to go beyond the status quo, to step powerfully into places and spaces that we have never gone before, and to have conversations that we have never had before. Grandma Mimi, in the Hallmark movie, When Love Springs, says there are two moments in life: those you miss and those you seize. I believe that it is our time to seize this moment and do all we can, both inwardly and outwardly, through personal responsibility and collective activism, to co-create a world that works for all. If not now, then when? If not us, then who? Freedom from discord for all of us is waiting. And so it is. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I just invite us to turn within, to close our outer eyes, to turn away from the world of form, to turn our attention to the center of our being. That space and place that I call God. That space and place in which that spark of the divine, that light, resides. That place and space that has never been hurt or harmed. That space and place that is our deep connection to the divine, to each other, and to life itself. I know that I am one with that place, that there is nothing that can truly separate me from it. It is who and what I am at my very core. Everywhere I go, it goes with me. It is the very essence of peace, joy, creativity, abundance, and unconditional love. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is absolutely the truth of each and every person here today. And every person that is online, every person that may listen to this service later at some other point in time, every sentient being on the planet. We are all one, unified into a collective, one human family, one global family, tied to each other in ways that we can't even begin to know. And it's from that place of unity that I speak these words about and for each of us today. I know that we are spiritual beings having a human incarnation, that there is a way that we can live our lives from that deep and abiding connection, from that unity, from that oneness, from that wholeness, from that unconditional love that is at the truth and the center of our being. I know that there is a way that we can see that in ourselves and see that in each other and in each and every sentient being on the planet. That we recognize that place and space, that we honor that space and place. And because we are one, we choose to move beyond the status quo, to take a look at those things that do not support oneness, that do not support wholeness, that do not support inclusivity and acceptance and kindness and love, that do not support the things that we as a spiritual community believe in and teach. And we can do that by remembering who we are, by remembering who everything and everyone is. And to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that as we do so, as we know that for ourselves, and as we step out to be and make a stand for everyone else, with no exception, we can and will, not someday, but beginning today, by beginning now, to work toward creating that world that works for all. To recognize that diversity that is so rich and so great and so wonderful, and be willing to have conversations, to listen to each other's stories, to find and understand that we are more alike than we are different, to go beyond what has always been in the past and choose a different story. Speak to something different. Be willing to make a stand for something different, to stand up and say, this is what I believe in. And be willing to bring it forward by talking about it. Bringing it into our conscious awareness and the conscious awareness of everyone on the planet, so that it can be shifted, so that it can be healed, so that we can create a world that works for all. I'm so grateful to know this truth and to speak these words. So grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes. That my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And so I speak them and I release them into that law, letting go and letting God be God. I invite everyone to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for each other, for our community, and for the world, simply by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Amen. It is now time for our conscious giving. This is the time every week when we offer financial support to our community to assist it to continue to be a beacon of light and warmth and love in the Greater Triangle area and beyond. We honor the truth that this offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and adds to the energy of sufficiency on the planet. There are 3 ways that you can give. They're on your screen here. They're on your screen at home. visit our website at trianglecsl.org. You can text the word GIVE to 919-629-9148, or you can actually mail a check to PO Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina, 27519. So now I invite everyone to please take your gift, hold it against your heart with a affirmation for yourself or for someone else, and we'll do our conscious giving affirmation in a call and response. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life.
I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life.
I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source.
I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source.
And so it is. And so it is. Amen. Thank you all for your generosity, and now let's please be very generous with our welcome of the amazingly talented Karen Daly.
It's no classic. Love is but a song we sing, and fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring, or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some will come and some will go, and we shall surely pass. When the one that left us here returns for us at last, we are but a moment's sunlight faded in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together and try to love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together and try to love one another right now. Have a great day, everybody. Love you.
That was lovely. Okay, if anyone would like prayer, please go to our website. Up there in the corner, on the right-hand side. Okay, on the home page, there is a button in the upper right-hand corner. And click on that button and fill in the request form. We will get that prayer and send it out to the ministers and to the practitioners. So, and if you can't figure that out, ask somebody. Not me. Okay, we'll get it. If anybody would like to dedicate flowers for the service, for anything, please contact either Heather Abbott or Reverend Dusty to make arrangement for that. And they're always pretty. So in the comfort of your own home, please stand for our August affirmation. This is a call and response, so please repeat it with meaning. This month, I choose to see beyond the status quo that I have come to expect in the world.
This month, I choose to see beyond the status quo that I have come to expect in the world.
I choose to be willing to have conversations that reflect the wholeness of humanity, knowing that I am connected to everything and everyone.
I choose to be willing to have conversations that reflect the wholeness of humanity,
Knowing that I am connected to everything
and everyone.
everyone. By doing so, I transcend the pull to engage in othering and create an environment of inclusivity where everyone feels welcomed.
By doing so, I transcend the pull to engage in othering and create an environment of inclusivity where
Everyone feels welcome. I understand the importance of embodying my divinity and my humanity, and I'm willing to do the work to stand firmly grounded in that place.
I understand the
Importance of embodying my divinity and my humanity, willing to do the work.
stand firmly grounded in that place.
I affirm that the Science of Mind principles provide an opportunity to honor the intrinsic worth and contribution of every person, fostering a more enlightened and compassionate society.
I affirm that the Science of Mind principles provide an opportunity
Opportunity to honor the intrinsic worth and
and contribution of every person, fostering a more enlightened and compassionate society.
I declare that I am willing to go beyond a theoretical discussion of our principles and commit to being in action as we co-create a world that works for all.
I declare that I am willing to go beyond a theoretical discussion of our principles and commit to being in action as we co-create a world that works for all.
And so it is. It is. There we go. Have a seat, if you like. And let us just say, let me say, that I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here, grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this organization and the work it does in the world. And I am grateful to God for the presence of each person here. And so it is.
Thank you all so very much. Thanks Heather and Madison for really handling all the work that needs to be done in the AV. Thank you very much, Karen, for your beautiful music. Thank you, everybody in the room, everybody out there. Have a really magnificent week, and I guess that's about all. We're extending the silent auction for Gourmets for God for one more week. So if that date snuck upon you, as did the entirety of September on me, then please know that you have one more week to get your silent auction bids in. There are 11 really wonderful opportunities to spend time with each other, breaking bread and enjoying some really fun, wonderful event that's happening. So please consider doing that. I love you all. Have a great week.